Hi my dear students, in the last episode we have discussed about second law of Faraday and its problems, and in today's class, that is lecture number 13, we'll start with again second law of Faraday problems only. See here, one homework question is like this. Aqueous solution of auric chloride, silver nitrate, copper sulfate are connected in series. When 3 Faradays of charge, 3 Faraday of charge is passed, then calculate ratio of moles of metal. Metal's moles ratio, nothing but a molar ratio is asking, deposited on electrodes, and its answer is 2:6:3. Same model question we have covered in our previous video. Please go through that video once again and try to solve this question. Okay, right. Next question is like this. Next question is 100 grams of concentrated aqueous solution of silver nitrate is electrolyzed by using 0.1 Faraday of electricity by platinum electrodes. Find the weight of resultant solution. That's all. That is the question. We'll try to understand given data. First of all, 100 grams of concentrated aqueous solution of silver nitrate is electrolyzed by using 0.1 Faraday of electricity, and by of course platinum electrodes. Platinum is nothing but inert electrodes. And find the weight of a resultant solution. A resultant solution is nothing but final remaining solution weight is asking. Nothing but initial weight has given, and we have to calculate final weight. That's all. First we'll just recall electrolysis process of aqueous silver nitrate. Then answer. Aqueous silver nitrate, if undergoes electrolysis process, and this already we have discussed in our previous videos, at anode which is a plus electrode, minus ion means Ag plus NO3 minus, aqueous means will have H plus and OH minus ions are present. Then out of NO3 minus and OH minus ions, based on their discharging potential order values, OH minus ion will come and discharge, means at anode oxygen gas will be liberated. At a cathode is minus means plus ion will come and discharge, plus ion means Ag plus H plus. Out of Ag plus and H plus, according to its discharging potential order, then Ag plus ion will come and discharge, that means Ag metal will be deposited at cathode. At anode, oxygen gas is liberating. At cathode, silver metal is depositing. Right. Now we'll calculate. He is sending a 0.1 Faraday of electricity. First we'll do one thing. Then 1 Faraday of electricity if you send, suppose. Then at anode, how much oxygen will be liberated? Means 1 Faraday of current if you send, whatever the substance may be, its corresponding equivalent mass of substance deposited. As far as oxygen is concerned, equivalent mass is 8 grams. 1 Faraday if you send, 8 grams of substance will be deposited. It is fixed. 8 grams of oxygen is liberated. But he is not sending 1 Faraday, he is sending a 0.1 Faraday. 0.1 Faraday of current if you send, how much substance are deposited or liberated, doesn't matter. That is equals to 0.8, that's all. 0.1 into 8 is nothing but 0.8 grams will be deposited at anode. Next we'll go to cathode. Same concept we'll do then. That is, then same 1 Faraday of current if you send, then how much silver will be deposited? Its equivalent mass. Equivalent mass of silver is again 108 grams of silver will be deposited. It is fixed. But again in the question, he has not sent 1 Faraday. He is sending only 0.1 Faraday. 0.1 Faraday purpose. How much mass of silver will be deposited? 0.1 into 108 is nothing but 10.8 grams of silver will be deposited. I'll repeat. At anode, how many grams of oxygen is liberating? 0.8 grams of oxygen is liberating. At a cathode, 10.8 grams of silver is depositing. Means from 100 grams at anode, 0.8 grams of substance is depositing, and at cathode 10.8 grams of substance is depositing. Is asking resultant solution. Remaining amount we have to calculate. Therefore, I'll just continue here this side. Therefore, resultant weight of, otherwise the mass of or weight of resultant solution. Weight of resultant solution is equals to, initial amount is 100 grams minus 0.8 plus 10.8. First we have to add these two values, then we have to subtract from 100, then the obtained value is 88.4 grams. 88.4 grams is resultant amount. That's it. Means when silver nitrate undergoing electrolysis process, at anode oxygen is liberating, at cathode silver is depositing, but is passing only 0.1 Faradays. That's why for 0.1 Faradays purpose, as far as oxygen is concerned, 0.8 grams is depositing. As far as the silver is concerned, 10.8 grams of silver is depositing. Now resultant, remaining amount is asking. Initially 100 minus this value and this value. If you subtract, then the final resultant value is 88.4 grams. That's it. Next, one more homework question I'll give you. Right, next question is, ratio of masses of substance at cathode and anode when 1 Faraday is passed through aqueous sulfuric acid will be. That's it. Is asking ratio of masses of substances at cathode and anode. Substances you can write. At a cathode and anode, when 1 Faraday, how much current is sending? Only 1 Faraday of current is passing through aqueous H2SO4 solution will be asking. Okay, therefore your answer is that is 1:8. 1:8 is our answer. It is just homework and a direct question only. It is direct answer will get, because it is sending only 1 Faraday. 1 Faraday means whatever the substance may be, it is equals to its corresponding equivalent mass. That is a hint. That's it. Next question. Next question is how many Faraday charge is required for first question in that reduction of 1 mole of MnO4 minus 2 Mn plus 2, it is first question. And in the second one, the reduction of 1 mole of dichromate ion Cr2O7 minus 2 Cr plus, that's it. Here are two questions we have to solve them. How many Faraday's charge is required for reduction of 1 mole of MnO4 minus, that is it is nothing but permanganate ion to Mn plus 2. Second one is reduction of 1 mole of dichromate ion to Cr plus 3. First we'll try to solve the first question. Then here convert A, of course. MnO4 minus has converted to Mn plus 2. MnO4 minus, if you take in that manganese oxidation state, is plus 7, because we don't know x minus 8 equal to minus 1, x minus 8 equal to minus 1, x equal to 7. Manganese oxidation number is plus 7, and here already manganese oxidation number given, that is plus 2. Then plus 7 converted to plus 2, whether it is decreasing or increasing, definitely decrease in oxidation state, nothing but reduction is taking place. Reduction is taking place, and in this reduction process, how many moles of electrons are involving means difference between 7 and 2 is 5. Means here if you add 5 electrons, 5 into minus 1, it is a minus 5. 7 minus 5, you will get plus 2. 7 minus 5, it is nothing but left side plus 2, you will get right side also plus 2 only. Means overall here how many electrons are involving, means 5 moles of electrons are involving. 5 moles of electrons. 1 mole is nothing but 1 Faraday. 5 moles nothing but 5 Faradays of electricity is using in this conversion process, that's all. Because MnO4 minus manganese oxidation number is 7. Already Mn is plus 2. 7 converted to 2. Reduction is taking place. Here difference is 5 moles of electrons. Therefore, 1 mole electron is nothing but 1 Faraday. 5 moles of electrons is nothing but 5 Faradays of current is utilized, required in this conversion. Second B, we will see that. Dichromate ion Cr2O7 minus 2 converted to Cr plus 3. Right. First, in Cr2O7 minus 2, chromium oxidation number will find. Here, chromium oxidation number we don't know, let it as X. Chromium we don't know, that is here 2 chromiums are there. 2x plus 7 into minus 2, that is minus 14 equal to minus 2. 2x minus 14 equal to minus 2. 2x equal to 12, x equal to 6. Means here 1 chromium charge is plus 6, 1 single chromium charge. Here chromium charge is 3, 6 converted to 3. Of course, decrease in oxidation state. Decrease in oxidation state is nothing but reduction is taking place, there is no doubt. Decrease in oxidation state is nothing but reduction is taking place. Now here how many moles of electrons are involving means if you write 6 minus 3, 3 is wrong. Why? Because whatever the 6 we have calculated, that 6 is 1 chromium charge. Then here first chromiums will make balance. Left side 2 chromiums are there, right side also will make it 2 chromiums. Therefore, here 6 minus 3, of course that is a 3 only, but here for 2 chromium purpose will multiply with a 2. Therefore 6 moles of electrons will be involved. There is nothing but 1 mole is nothing but 1 Faraday. 6 moles per person. 6 Faradays of electricity is required in this conversion process. I'll repeat. Cr2O7 minus 2. Of course, chromium oxidation number is 6 plus 6. Has converted to plus 3. But left side 2 chromiums are there. Right side only 1 chromium. That's why we have first to balance the chromiums by multiplying with the 2. Now, here whatever the change is there, that is only for 1 chromium change is 3. Then 2 chromiums per bus will write into 2. 6 means here 6 moles of electrons will be involved. Nothing but 6 Faradays of current is involving. That's all. This is our almost last question based on this Faraday's laws. Next we'll enter into another different phenomena in this lesson. Okay. Next phenomena is conduction of electrolytic solution. Conduction of electrolytic solution. Okay. Now, we'll first of all discuss about some basic terms in this phenomena. That is, first of all, we have to know what is a conductor. Conductor, first we have to define. What is conductor? Very simple. Which conduct current is conductor? Means the substance which allows current to pass through it is a conductor. The substance, it is one substance. Then if it is allowing the current to pass through it, is called as conductor. That's why how to define here the substance. The substance which allows current to pass through it is called as a conductor. Now, examples for conductors. Conductors examples are like metals, copper, silver, etc., etc., aluminum, etc. Not only metals, some solutions also like aqueous solution of acids, bases, and salts like NaCl, KCl, right? Salts we can write. Salts are the examples of conductors. Right. Now, here conductors are mainly two types. What are those two types? Number one is, first one is metallic conductors. Metallic conductors are also called as electronic conductors. Electronic conductors. This is first type. Second one is electrolytic conductors. Electrolytic conductors, and also called as ionic conductors. That's all. I repeat, conductor. Conductor means a substance which is allowing current to pass through it is of course conductor. Conductors examples, many examples are there, like metals, as well as some solutions like aqueous solution of acids, bases, as well as salts. All are comes under conductors category only. And conductors are two types mainly, that is a metallic conductors and second one is electrolytic conductors. Now we have to define what is a metallic conductor as well as what is a electrolytic conductor. That's all. First we'll see metallic conductors. Are nothing but electronic conductors. Yeah, very simple. How to define metallic conductors? Means a substance which allows electric current due to movement of electrons. I'll repeat, metallic conductors. Why metals are allowing the current to pass through it? That is just because of movement of electrons only. Due to movement of electrons, metals will allow current to pass through them. That's why the substances, okay, now, otherwise the conductors also we can use the word, the substances which allows current to pass through them due to movement of electrons, comma, here one important point is without undergoing any chemical change. Without undergoing any chemical change, it is very important point. This is called as metallic conductors, nothing but electronic conductors. The conductors are the substances which allows current to pass through them due to movement of electrons, but without undergoing any chemical change. Here like oxidation, reduction reactions are not takes place. That is only called as chemical change. No chemical change at all. Of course, examples, metallic conductors examples will take as possible as metals like copper, aluminium, iron, zinc, etc. All are metallic conductors only. Right. Now, after completion of metallic conductors, we will go to electrolytic conductors. Electrolytic conductors. Electrolytic conductors, also called as ionic conductors. Ionic conductors. Yeah, electrolytic conductors purpose will take any example like electrolyte. Sodium chloride is an electrolyte, potassium chloride is an electrolyte, and HCl is an electrolyte. All are electrolytes only. How to define electrolytic conductors? Very, very simple. Here, this NaCl solution is allowing a current to pass through it. It is just because of ions only. NaCl is splitting as Na plus and Cl minus. Due to these ions, or because of these ions only, these solutions will allow current to pass through it. I'll repeat. How to define electrolytic conductors? Very simple. The substances are the solutions which allows current to pass through them due to migration of ions in its aqueous state or in its molten state. Means here NaCl, you can take aqueous NaCl or you can take molten NaCl, it doesn't matter. I'll repeat. The substances are the solutions which allows current to pass through them due to movement of ions. Due to movement of ions in its aqueous state or in its molten state or fused state is called as electrolytic conductors or ionic conductors. Why? Because the conductivity is because of ions only. That's it. And we can take so many examples, but before that, electrolytic conductors are further divided into two types. Electrolytic conductors are subdivided into two types. Number one is strong electrolytes. Strong electrolytes, and second one is weak electrolytes. Weak electrolytes. That's it. Then what are strong electrolytes? What are weak electrolytes? Very simple. If an electrolyte is dissociating almost completely, is called as a strong electrolyte. For example, HCl. HCl, if you take in water, it is splits as H plus and Cl minus. If you take 100 molecules, for example, 100 out of 100 almost, 100 out of 100 molecules are splitting. Okay, means if a substance is dissociating almost completely, that is called as strong electrolyte. Means strong electrolyte contains more number of ions. Because of more number of ions, strong electrolyte conducts more electricity through it because of more number of ions. That's all. Weak electrolytes, here almost completely dissociated. Here substance dissociates partially. Example, CH3COOH. Acetic acid if you take, dissociated, no doubt. CH3COO minus and H plus. Here also cation and anions are forming. Here also cation and anion is forming. There is no doubt at all. But here if you take 100 molecules initially, then after dissociation, if you observe, only nearly 20 are dissociated. Here 100 out of almost 100 are dissociated. Here out of 100, nearly 20-30 only dissociated. Means here dissociation is less, dissociation is partial, and this type of electrolytes are called as weak electrolytes. Automatically, weak electrolytes conducts less current through them because of less number of ions. Here more number of ions, it passes current through them more, and here because of less number of ions, it passes current through them less only. Because electrolytic conductors or ionic conductors are the substances which allows current due to movement of ions. More ions movement, automatically more is the current. Less ions movement, automatically less is the current supply. That's it. This is about metallic conductors as well as electrolytic conductors. Now we will discuss about the differences between metallic conductors as well as electrolytic conductors. Right, one side metallic conductors, and one side will write electrolytic conductors. Right, now one by one we will write all as possible as the points will write. In that first one, metallic conductors are allowing the current to pass through them due to movement of due to movement of electrons. Sorry, here due to movement of electrons, they are allowing the current to pass through them. Here due to movement of ions here. Here due to movement of electrons, here due to movement of ions. That's all, this point already. Just now we have discussed, already familiar to you. Second one, no chemical change occurs. No chemical change takes place. Here, as far as electrolytic conductors are concerned, then here at anode oxidation is taking place, at cathode reduction is taking place. Nothing but chemical reactions are taking place. Nothing but chemical change occurs. Chemical change takes place. Next, third point. No mass transfer. No mass transfer. What is the meaning of no mass transfer? Wait, come here. Here mass transfer takes place. Mass transfer occurs. Right. Sir, what is the meant by mass transfer? Very simple. As far as electrolytic conductors are concerned, then at anode one substance is forming, at cathode another substance is forming. They are forming, new substances are forming at respective electrodes. That is only called as a mass transfer. Because one substance is forming, then at one electrode, and other substance is forming at another electrode. That is itself is called as a mass transfer phenomena. Come here. As far as metallic conductors are concerned, no question of oxidation as well as no question of reduction. Okay, that's why here no mass transfer phenomena in metallic conductors. And next, fourth point, if temperature increases, for example, it is a metal. If you heat the metal, what happens? Whether its conductivity increases or decreases, means when temperature increases, its conductance definitely decreases. I repeat, when temperature increases, conductance decreases. So why temperature increases, conductance decreases? We'll see the reason now. Come here. Here also, if temperature increases, here temperature increases, conductance increases. Here conductance increases. We'll see the reason now. Here why it is decreasing, why it is increasing. Very simple reason. First we'll see this one. Then here electrolyte and container. Electrolyte, NaCl electrolyte has taken. Then if you heat, automatically what happens? Decomposition increases. If decomposition of electrolyte increases, automatically you will get a more number of ions. More amount of ions are available. Because of more number of ions, its conductance increases. To repeat, as far as electrolytic conductors are concerned, when you are heating, when you are supplying, when you are heating, automatically its dissociation increases. If dissociation increases, more number of ions are available. Because of more number of ions, its conductance definitely increases. Come here, left side. In case of metallic conductors, why conductance is decreasing? Why conductance is decreasing means then slightly we have to know about metallic bonding. Metallic bonding means we'll just discuss shortly. Like this one metal, like sodium, for example. Sodium, what happened in the valence shell? One electron is there. After losing of its one electron, remaining species is Na plus. And that Na plus I will show here in its metal crystal. Na plus, like that will show. And those positively charged species are called as kernels. And whatever the electron is coming out, okay, that electron is embedded like this, embedded in between the kernels. And because of plus and minus, some attraction forces are there, and this itself is called as metallic bonding. Okay, this itself is called as metallic bonding, and it is called as electron C model. We'll tell it this. Okay, right. Now here when temperature increases, why conductance decreases? Very simple reason. When temperature increases to this metal, then whatever the kernels are there, kernels are started vibration. Because of vibrations of kernels, electrons movement will be disturbed. Because of kernels vibrations, electrons movement will be disturbed. Because of electrons less movement, definitely its conductance decreases. That's all. And next point, here what happened here as far as metallic conductors are concerned, if temperature increases, conductance decreases. If conductance decreases, automatically resistance increases. Because conductance as well as resistance both are reciprocal to each other. That we'll discuss shortly. That's why here when temperature increases, resistance increases. That's why with the temperature, if temperature increases, resistance increases. Here what is the reason for resistance? It is due to vibration of kernels. That's it. Here temperature increases, resistance increases. Why resistance increases? Because of vibrations of kernels, automatically electrons movement will be spoiled. That's why conductance decreases. Come here. Here, of course, if temperature increases, here conductance increases, there is no doubt. But generally, here also in case of electrolytic conductors also, sometimes a resistance existed. Resistance arises. When the resistance arises means here resistance increases. When the resistance increases means if solute-solute interaction or solute-solvent interaction or solvent interactions occurs. I'll repeat. Then in case of electrolytic conductors also resistance increases when solute interactions or solute solvent interactions or solvent interactions are increases, then in that case also resistance increases. And here suppose if that medium viscosity is more, then also its resistance increases. Right. Now, in case last point, if you take suppose as far as metallic conductors are concerned, there is no question of application of Faraday's laws. But in case of electrolytic conductors, here Faraday's laws we can apply. These are the differences between metallic conductors as well as electrolytic conductors. We'll see one by one once again. Here conductance is due to movement of movement of electrons. Here conductance is due to movement of ions. Here no chemical change. Here chemical change is taking place. What is chemical change? Nothing but oxidation, reduction at respect to electrodes itself is called as chemical change. Next, here no mass transfer because no chemical reactions. Here mass transfer is taking place because chemical reactions are taking place. Next, if temperature increases, conductance decreases. Here temperature increases, conductance increases. Why it is happening, that we have taken in the next point. If temperature increases, resistance increases, because conductance decreases means resistance increases, of course. It is due to vibration of kernels. When temperature increases, kernels will be vibrated. Because of that vibration, electrons movement will be disturbed. That's why its conductance decreases. Then here also resistance increases. When resistance increases means when solute-solute or solute-solvent or solvent interactions are increases, here also resistance increases. As well as here medium is also influencing. If a viscosity of medium is more, then also its resistance increases or conductance decreases. Next, because of metal, there is no any application of Faraday's laws. Here we can apply Faraday's laws. That's it. Right. Sorry. Next, we will discuss about electrolytic conductance. Electrolytic conductance means we will discuss about conductance as well as resistance, that is particularly for electrolytic solutions. Right. Here we will again discuss some terms. In that first term is resistance. Resistance, which is indicated with, of course, designated with the R symbol. What is the resistance? Resistance is nothing but the hindrance. The hindrance provided by the solution. The hindrance provided by the solution for the passage of current is called as resistance. That's it. What is hindrance? Hindrance is nothing but a disturbance, obstacles. For example, one simple example, see here. Say it is a electron, current flowing direction, for example. Here normally current is flowing. and here some obstacles occurs. That obstacles we are showing like this. Then here it is not like a normal path. Here path has changed because of these obstacles. Current movement will be somewhat fluctuated. This itself is called as a resistance. Okay, resistance is nothing but the hindrance, nothing but a disturbance. The hindrance provided by the solution for the passage of current is called as resistance. Resistance will be designated with the R, and resistance units will be indicated as ohm. Ohm, or we can write the symbol. This is the ohm symbol. That's all. Next, and we'll just continue the resistance concept, but for that purpose we'll take one diagram, that is right. Here one electrolytic container I have taken, and say it is one electrode. It is again electrode. It is one electrode whose area is designated with A. I'll repeat. Electrode area is designated with A, and length is indicated with L, and both electrodes are connected to battery, of course. Now, as far as resistance is concerned, see here, resistance is directly proportional to length of conductor and inversely proportional to area of cross section. I'll repeat, resistance is directly proportional to length of conductor and inversely proportional to area of cross section. Therefore, if you remove this proportional symbol, R is equals to, we will write one constant, that is a rho into L by A. R equal to rho into L by A. What is R? R is resistance. What is L? L is length. A is area of cross section. Here a new term is rho. Rho is nothing but, see, it is a resistance, it is a resistivity. Resistivity will write. Resistivity. Or it is also called as specific resistance. Specific resistance, that's it. Rho is nothing but resistivity, nothing but specific resistance. See here, in a resistance formula only resistivity will come, that's it. Now, we have to define what is resistivity. That's why we'll bring a rho to LHS. Rho is equals to R into A. R into A by L is the formula for resistivity. Now, here what I am doing, if L I am substituting 1 meter, if L length 1 meter and the area I have taken 1 meter square, and both values if you substitute here, rho is equals to R into 1 by 1, nothing but 1, rho becomes R. Rho becomes R. Now how to define rho? Rho is nothing but resistivity. Resistivity is also resistance only. Resistivity is also resistance, but when length is 1 meter and area of cross section is 1 meter square. That's it. That's how to define now resistivity. Resistivity is also resistance, or the resistance of a substance. The resistance of a substance whose length is 1 meter and area of cross section is 1 meter square. R. Another type also we can define, that is in terms of volume also we can tell, because the volume formula is A into L. Volume is A into L. Now area is 1 meter square into length is 1 meter. If you multiply volume, how much you will get? 1 meter cube you will get. 1 meter cube volume. Now in terms of volume, how to define them? Same. The resistance of, I repeat, resistivity is also resistance. The resistance of 1 meter cube volume of solution is called as resistivity. Once again, the resistance of 1 meter cube volume of solution, electrolytic solution, is called as resistivity. We can define in two types. Okay, I'll repeat. First one, resistivity is also resistance. Means the resistance of a substance whose length is 1 meter and area of cross section is 1 meter square, or the resistance of 1 meter cube volume of solution is called as resistivity. That's it. Now we'll write resistivity units. Right here, resistivity units purpose, we'll use the formula. R is nothing but ohms into area. In terms of SI unit we have taken meter square divided by length is meter. Meter cancel, therefore you will get ohm meter. Ohm meter is SI unit. That's why in SI system its units are ohm meter. In CJ system we can write ohm centimeter. That's all. In CJ system its units are ohm centimeter. Based on the given question, we have to select units, its appropriate units. Here units are very important because while solving the questions we have to focus particularly on units only, because sometimes they may give SI units, sometimes they may give CGS units also. Okay, based on that we will use corresponding values. That's all. And this is about resistance as well as resistivity. Resistance as well as resistivity. Once again, resistance is directly proportional to length and inversely proportional to area of cross section. And if you remove this proportional symbol, we will write one constant, R equal to rho into L by A. What is rho? Rho is nothing but resistivity or specific resistance. Now I want to define this one. So that I have shifted to LHS. Therefore rho equal to R into A by L. R into A by L. And rho LHS is shifted. Now we have to define this one. That's why this one and this one both have taken as 1. Length is 1 meter, area is 1 meter square. If you substitute, rho becomes R. What is R? Already familiar. R is resistance. Automatically rho also resistance only. That's why how to define rho? Means rho is nothing but resistance only. That's why the resistance of a substance when length is 1 meter and area of cross section is 1 meter square, or in terms of volume, V equal to A into L. That's why 1 meter cube, because 1 if you take, you will get automatically 1 meter cube. That's why the resistance of 1 meter cube volume of a solution is called as resistivity, and it's a units. Ohm meter square by meter. That's why ohm meter is the SI system, ohm centimeter is a CGS system. Right. Now after resistance we will discuss about conductance. That conductance will be continued in our next class. Thank you for watching. Bye.